Everybody has a recipe for spaghetti and meatballs, but I've got a couple of key ingredients guaranteed to put your spaghetti and meatballs over the top. Hey everybody, welcome to Cooking with Sylv Mac. Today I am actually representing the house. I went to Spelman College, so I have to represent my Morehouse brothers. So I like to make my meatball with veal, and here's why. My favorite restaurant here in the Chandler area is called Bella Gusto, and their owners, they make a killer spaghetti and meatballs. So of course I'm talking with them. I'm like, what do you do? How do you do that? So they told me one of their secrets, or one of the things that they encourage me to do, is to make it with veal because it has a lot of fat in there and it makes it really, really tender. The other thing that I found out, and I'm trying this for the first time and I think it's going to be really good, I was looking on the internet and I saw a website, and I believe the chef's name is Under 30, I believe. Anyway, he put some pancetta in his meatballs. So I decided to do the same thing. So I thought it was diced a little too big because I didn't want big chunks of it like that. So I just ground it up myself, pulled up my old Ninja and ground it up and put it in there as well. Then I also put in some Parmigiano Reggiano. I put 1 egg in, and actually let me put that in. I also took 3 slices of bread, cut off the ends, and then I tore it in tiny little pieces and I soaked it in milk. I squeezed out all of the milk and I put that in here as well. About 3 of the top part of the of green onions, chopped it up really fine, along with 3 cloves of garlic. I also put some black pepper in here, some oregano. I probably put like maybe a teaspoon of oregano in there. The smoked salt that I got on Amazon. I put probably about a half a teaspoon in there. So I'm just gonna get in there and mix it all up with my hands. And you wanna make sure to incorporate everything in there, but you don't wanna overwork your meat either, because then that makes for kind of like a tough and spongy type thing. And we want them to be nice and tender. So after you have mixed it all in, now it's time to form the little balls. And one of the things that I like to do is take a little bit of olive oil, you put it on your hands, rub it together like that so that the meat doesn't stick, and it gives a little it gives a little oil as well to the meatball. You roll it around as such into a nice little ball, and then I put them on some wax paper. I've got my meatballs resting in the refrigerator right now so they can kind of get together and let those flavors meld together. And now what I've done is I have put in my brand new pot. I love this pot. It kind of looks like a wok or something, but I love it. Anyway, so I've got some pancetta in here and I am browning it along with, now this is from my husband. He likes to cook and he likes to make suggestions. So for all you wives out there, you know, sometimes you gotta compromise, right? So he wanted to have some Earl Campbell smoked sausage put in, so that's in there as well. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put my vegetables in, and that's gonna be some mushrooms. I put about half of a green pepper, bell pepper, half of a jalapeno, and also about 3/4 of a Valdelia onion. Now, I used to live in Atlanta for like 15 years, and we called them Valdelia onions, but I think out here I've seen them called anything but. Anyway, so they're called sweet onions, I think, or something, but I know them being in the Georgia area as Valdelia onions. So I've got my vegetables that I have now put in there. I'm gonna go on and saute this. I'm not gonna add my garlic until later because garlic tends to cook faster than the rest of the vegetables. And once garlic burns, it has a bitter flavor, and I hate that flavor, and it's gross. So I'm not gonna put that in there. This is sauteing, and while it's sauteing, I'm also gonna season it a little bit with this Italian spaghetti seasoning, Tones. I love this stuff. I think my husband got it at either Costco or Sam's, one of the two. And then I also found this Kinder's Mediterranean seasoning. I'm gonna add this too because it's got a smoky lemon and herbs. And I love anything that has smoke to it. So you put a little bit of this in there. So you wanna season up your vegetables. Then what I'm going to do is I want to deglaze the pan with a little bit of white wine. And you want to use the wine that you would normally drink, because if you use like cooking wine, it just doesn't have the same flavor. So when you deglaze the pan, you're going to put, I would say like maybe, I don't know what that was, like maybe a half of a cup. And you want this to reduce by half, because you want to cook off the alcohol. You want the flavor of the wine, but not the alcohol, because then that makes it taste, again, bitter. So now I'm going to go in and add my garlic in here as well. Then I'm going to let this cook down. And then the big secret also is you have to get the San Marzano Italian tomatoes. They cost a little more, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. Now, they do have some that say San Marzano style. We want the ones from Italy. Once all of this cooks down, then I'm gonna add my tomatoes, and they're whole tomatoes. And the longer you cook them, then they will break down, and it'll be a little chunky, but not really. I don't know about you, but I like my sauce chunky. I don't like thin sauce. So then I will throw a little bit of thyme in there, in the sauce, and also a couple of bay leaves. The other thing that I found out while I was also at my favorite restaurant, Bella Gusto, is Michael told me that he puts butter in his sauce. I'm gonna put a half a stick of butter in there. And that fat from the butter gives the sauce a real creamy, just a good buttery, fatty flavor that just takes it over the top. So these are the tomatoes, and here is the pot. Go on and put that in there. And you see that they're whole tomatoes. I like to break them up like this and then let them stew for maybe at least an hour or so, because then they're gonna just like melt. And again, I like my tomato sauce to be chunky. And I have one more can that I'm gonna put in there as well. I'm also gonna put in a couple of bay leaves, and again, a little bit more seasoning from the Italian spaghetti. And the other thing that I told you guys about is a big hunk of butter. That is complimentary from my friends at Bella Gusto. The other thing that I'm gonna put in there is some Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, the grated kind. And I'll probably put like maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of that in there, and then I'm gonna let it simmer. So we've got a lot going on. We've got my sauce cooking and it's simmering. It's gonna make those tomatoes burst, and the sauce is gonna be awesome. And now I have just taken the meatballs out of the refrigerator so that they could sort of form a little bit. And I basically bake it at about 425 degrees, and I put it close up to the top shelf. And I'm only gonna cook them for like maybe 10 minutes. Okay, so I just pulled the meatballs out of the oven, and they look magnificent. Now, they really don't brown, so you just wanna cook them though for anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes, no more than that, because you see they're not really that brown. But you're gonna put them into the sauce, and then that's when they're going to finish cooking in there. So you don't want to, make them tough, right? So, oh, that's a big one. And I can just feel how moist, just from the touch, I can tell you. Oh, that's good. So we'll put them in here, and then we will let them simmer for like an hour. And then I'm going to start, I will start on the pasta, and then finally put it all together. Wow, the spaghetti is done. It's been cooking for about an hour, and it looks fantastic. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and leave me some comments. Until next time, cheers.